there.
Hi, welcome to Fight It, a show where we analyze and solve PR kerfuffles from MMA world and beyond. Oh.
I was told we lose monetizing when that happens.
Well, no, we lose monetizing when I start cursing immediately when somebody complains about it.
Man.
Right. Okay.
I'm your host, Alexi Alden. Joining me, as always, is Eugene S. Robinson from Aussie.com and author of Fight Everything You Ever Want to Know About Asking. We're afraid to get your ass kicked for asking. And special guest, John Nash.
Yay!
The man in the black.
In my special
Come on,
bunker.
I don't know about that, in the black. That means he has lots of money.
Well,
John has lots of money. I've been wasting my time not talking about it.
I got my West Hollywood lumberjack shirt on, so I've been doing some.
Young men.
Filming from the
when
upside
you
down.
ever feel down. Sorry.
So, Eugene.
Sir.
You're a WME-IMG.
Right.
Should you cancel UFC 216 in the wake of Sunday's Las Vegas shooting?
The date for it is this coming weekend?
Yes.
You remember after 9/11, it's kind of resulted in the Super Bowl no longer being played. January 26th is when it used to be. I remember that. And they pushed it back approximately 2 weeks. But I think you're the situation is so strangely developing that I think that you might have security concerns, though I can imagine there are better places to attack than rooms full of fight fans. I don't know. It would be very easy to move it to Los Angeles. I mean, that would not be difficult, but contracts are signed, people are locked in, and you could make it a living, breathing MMA tribute to the fallen, which at some point, somebody's going to stand up, and I think they've already begun doing that. So life goes on, and I think they had some sing-along, like prayer vigil in Vegas, and Vegas is certainly not shutting down between now and then. And very distinctly, if you talk to the tourism board, who I heard on the radio today, they are desirous to put this behind them as quickly as possible, while guaranteeing the continued safety of people who attend events there. So if I'm WME, I pretty much go to the people, the boots on the street, and to talk to the folks in Vegas and go, what do you think? As well as the casinos that are having it. Is it going to be Thomas Mack Center, or where is it supposed to be, the fight?
Fuck if I know.
All right. Yeah. Well, I think, if there's
on TV, man, that's when I see it.
If there's an escape clause that lets you get out and move it, if they, do the casinos want it? Do they not want it? I mean, if I'm WME, I'm a reasonable multi-billion-dollar company. What do you got? You guys are there? We're not. What do you want to do? And I'd be sensitive to their needs and heed their advice. So,
what about you, John?
I move ahead. First of all, this would be an easy fight to cancel, just because there's, for hardcores, you might like a few of the fights at the top, but it's not going to have any interest overall. I mean, it's
let us catch you up. The entire MMA universe, we could say that about. We have decided now for the remainder of 2017, possibly half of 2018, there's really nothing on the docket.
Well, the Bisping GSP card.
Oh boy, right. That's a thrill a minute.
No, there is. There's some really good fights in that. That'll do good. But besides that, you're right.
How old is Bisping?
He's old enough to dodge every other young fighter in the league.
And so how old is GSP?
And GSP's, old enough that he hasn't fought in 4 years. So
he's ring-rusted French-Canadian fella.
They're experienced fighters. That's the term for old guys. They got
you're talking to an insanely embittered 55-year-old. Don't tell me.
So what do you think, John? Do you cancel?
Well, I don't cancel it, though, because, I mean, it's bound to happen again. This seems to be a new normal where every year, every other year, some major disaster happens. So I go ahead with the fight. Plus, Vegas is going to want the money. You're showing some sort of sympathy to the city that they need to bring people back in. I would, though, put a tribute on for the city in the middle of the fight, a video. You've already donated $1 million, maybe even go further and say a portion of the ticket sales or put collection booths outside every entranceway and collect as much money as possible, or donate the match, I guess, the fight of the night bonuses as donations as well. Do something else in addition. It's, you know, PR. It's, you know, it's not real. It's not a real donation, but still it helps. And do that, and then move ahead, and then just get. I mean, I think the standard right now is it has to be it has to be a 9/11 type incident now, I think, in America, where you start canceling stuff.
And that's darkly, darkly cynical.
Yeah, that's
just the way we like it.
That's not me being, you know, trying to be funny there. That's the new normal for America.
That's true.
You know,
see, John's filming location and lighting or lack thereof was foreshadowing.
Yes, I'm prepared. This is me being prepared for whatever comes next.
So speaking of being prepared, John, you're WME-IMG. Your CEO, Ari Emanuel, was honored at the Los Angeles LGBT Center's Vanguard Awards. 5 days later, in Los Angeles, same city, at UFC 216 media lunch, UFC heavyweight Fabricio Werdum hurled homophobic slurs live and in public, if you will, at lightweight Tony Ferguson. What's your PR plan for Werdum's woeful antics?
Well, first, I can't believe this had been accomplished the same day that it happened. So I wish I had a way back machine. We could do that if I'm WME. They might have enough money to do that, actually, to get a way back machine. First, the first thing I'm saying is, why are you connected at all with the Chechenian warlord that kills gay people? That's just right there is my number one thing. I'm like, you know what? We were giving it a pass before. You really got to cut ties with that guy. Because no matter whatever you say, it looks bad. You can't get out of it. The second thing is, I wish Werdum had an easy out right away. All he had to say is, listen, I apologize. Immediately you say, I apologize for the slur. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said it. I got angry, and I just flashed back when we were kids. We used to say this, and it's not acceptable now. And I slipped back into my old mentality, something that I learned growing up. You know, I just went back to my old words. And, you know, and now I know it's not appropriate. It's almost like what Tom Petty said about the Confederate flag and his use of it in the 80s. Say that. I think people would be forgiving. They'd go, oh, yeah, everybody growing up in the 80s and 90s, you know, used homophobic slurs all the time. And now we know that that's not really appropriate. I think that would have been my out. But I think you could still pull it off. But the big thing is Werdum has got to really cut ties with I can't remember the guy's name. Kadyrov. Thank you. Thanks, Eugene.
See, it's funny. I thought you said Alf, but then you said cats, which is Alf's favorite snack.
No, I massacred it, and it.
Oh, are you frozen too?
I'm not frozen.
Eugene, I think that the guy shot his feed with the golden gun.
No, there you go. No,
did he shoot your feed with the golden gun? Eugene, I'm so glad you're still alive. I was worried for a minute.
Inevitably, somebody in Chechnya was like, you massacred it. Whatever. Kadyrov.
Whatever he's a member of my Legion of Doom. That's all that matters.
Oh, but that's foreshadowing again for later. But so you don't think it's too late for him to have the apology, but you also engage, if you're WME-IMG, just to sum up, you know, to have him cut ties with the guy. What do you do, Eugene?
You know, it's weird how language, because you know, we make our livings from language. I'm guessing we do, and how language has changed and mutated and transmogrified. I mean, you would say, I mean, John said, oh, back when. It's not even really back when. I mean, I realized how far we had come when a famous fighter guy I know I was talking to about somebody, and he's like, yeah, that faggot. And I was actually caught myself shocked and put out. You know, it was a long time since I'd heard somebody who was not gay use that word to refer to somebody who was not gay, right? So, in other words, somebody who is not gay using that word to refer to somebody who is not gay to impugn their quality as a human being, their manliness, whatever such thing we had going. And I remember being, man, when did that happen? That was, and I'd say maybe 2000, right? 2002, if you think about it. And I remember this specifically because I was in a leather bar and Oxbow was playing a show at this leather bar in San Francisco called the Eagle, and the bartender was a friend of mine. Was giving me a hard time about using cocksucker and motherfucker. And I was like, oh, man, that guy's a motherfucking big. He was like, no. Have you had sex with women with children? I go, yep. So they're mothers. Yep. Did you have a good time? Yep. So why are you using it as a pejorative? I go, okay, you got me. And then the guy goes, okay, well, what about cocksucker? You like having your cocksucker? Yep. Okay, well, what's the problem? You know, you probably know a lot of the women you've had sex with have probably been cocksuckers. What's it? And I go,
hopefully.
Yeah. And I go, okay. What about prick? Can I still get away with it? He goes, prick is fine. I go, fucker, that's fine too. Shithead, that's fine too. I go, okay. So I got a whole. So I started to think about the word choices as well as using some gay as an adjective to describe something, you know, that was somehow fey or I don't know. The question is what to do with Werdum. I mean,
no, if you're WME-IMG.
If you're I mean, what? Some guy farts and trips, and I got to do something. I think you talk to his people and say, do the right thing. I think he's doing the right thing. He's now volunteering to the LGBT something, and the optics of it are what's important. You know, the fact that he was called that he called himself, apologized, that he's doing some kind of sensitivity thing, putting himself out, doing something for the community, and that the us guys at WME seem to have somehow engineered that. That's not just window dressing. That's a real thing, and that's more than any of us would get if we let fly with an F-bomb at work. So do you
allow them to climb the ranks? Yeah,
I said, it matters where you're working. I mean, it's.
Yeah, man. Even when I used to work for Larry Flint, that shit was like just people would like kind of go, you know.
When I used to be a beer truck delivery guy, that was, people would throw stuff like that left and right. That's it's a socioeconomic thing. The more you're up in the professional class, the more people are offended by language like that. The lower, if you're loading if you're loading docks, I don't think it's going to be that big a deal.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, truck drivers with 10th grade educations were on the staff at Hustler. So, but people were just so kind of scared.
Well, what about the warlord with the golden gun, though? I think that's an interesting point in terms of.
Well, I think it's
the story that they're talking about today is the fact that it's been confirmed that they have concentration camps for homosexual men.
Yeah.
In Chechnya. So. Do you, even with the Werdum win, like, how do you maintain that sort of Damocles with regard to his?
Well, as far as I know, he took the trip. Kadyrov has a standing offer, which I've thought about taking him up on, and which was, you want a journalist, you come to Chechnya, we'll pay for it. You could see how cool things are here. We'll take care of you. You could see things. And so, they've been on some kind of charm offensive. Hilary Swank being the most famous person who comes to mind, and she immediately got back to the States. I think maybe it was Hilary Swank or Jennifer Garner. I get them all confused, and fired her staff and said, I'm sorry, I just thought he was some head. I didn't realize the guy was, a lunatic. So I think the fighters got sucked in. He's an MMA fan. He was glad to meet him, like like the cat in Korea, Kim Jong-un with Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
But the fact that they are now doing news reports from gay men who have escaped and gotten into Russia and are like, look, man, dudes are laying, traps, honey traps for gay dudes, and then taking them to like reassignment centers, and there were beatings and trying to reprogram and crazy shit. Yeah, that's a problem. That's a real serious problem. And what does it mean anything to have him repudiate a guy who paid for a trip that he took 2 years ago? Yeah, I don't know, but because I don't know, why not? What do you lose? Well, he
loses a sponsorship deal. Werdum's right now sponsored by his MMA organization.
Is he?
Yeah, that's a few weeks ago. He was putting out tweets about congratulating Aquamed, I think it's called, or whatever, named after his father.
Yeah, he's got to drop that, man. You just if you are serious about wanting to make any professional inroads outside of fighting in a market that it has a U.S. base to it, you got to drop that shit now. If I'm WME, I tell them exactly that. If you want to get a Metro PCS ad, if you want to get yourself a cereal ad or some kind of, you got to drop it. Can't. This is bad for many different reasons other than business ones.
The only thing to save Werdum right now is if it turns out he's a knock. He's a non-official cover for the CIA. He's doing cover work for the U.S. government there.
He's actually
Secret agent man.
He's actually the kind of guy, multilingual, travels a lot.
Lead a life of danger.
That's my theory of Dennis Rodman. I'm on the Dennis Rodman's and knock.
Hey, if you don't think that he's had debriefing meetings going and coming, you'd be insane.
Well, he definitely had been debriefed, but thank you. So, John, it's time for your Legion of Doom.
Okay, we need a new member of the Legion of Doom, and this is it's the theory of it is that it's someone in MMA that is that's basically a villain. A member of my villain organization. My new member is going to go went under the radar. Happened a couple weeks ago. Is she's a former MMA fighter, no longer in it. Casey Christine Crisano, and she's an ex-cop who was it's great, straight out of an old an 80s. It's out of an old crime movie though. They flopped the gender now with the female. What she got busted for doing an insurance scam. And when they're investigating that, they found out she was hiring her friend to burn down the building where all of her evidence of all the stolen IDs she was keeping. She was trying to get them to arson the local storage building where they kept all the evidence. And so and I'm like, this is straight out of. I think
I'm in love, man. What are you talking about?
If you ever seen the old film noir movie like The Burglar and stuff, then she also tried to burn down her boyfriend, ex-husband, or her father of her child's house too. So it's like MMA fighter, cop, con artist, insurance fraud, and potential arsonist all rolled into one.
She should start dating 50 Cent now because he's allegedly burned a baby's mama out of the house. Couldn't get her out. I'm staying. You're not getting me out of this house. Magically caught fire. Don't know. Wow, I love that. Is she in jail?
She's under arrest right now in an investigation. I should say alleged because those are charges that they laid against her. She has.
I did an article for Ozzy recently in the last 2 weeks. So those of you who follow me on Twitter have seen it about the guy who I did a gun deal with a guy who shot some guy in the face. The guy almost dies, goes into a coma. But when he comes out of the coma, like 6 months later, first thing he does is identify the shooter. And they pick him up and it made the newspapers. You could read about dude, I think the name of the article is Doing Business with a Killer. And suddenly I asked the friend who introduced me to him, I said, hey, whatever happened to Julian? He said, I don't know. I said, man, let's try to find him. We'll write him in prison. Discover he's not in prison, man. He's a Chinese national and nobody can find him.
Damn.
Like in the Apocalypse Now, he's operating out there under no reasonable controls. How does that happen that you shoot a guy in the face for a deal gone awry? He comes out of a coma, pegs you, and you don't go to prison. Strange things have happened. I'm pulling for her in any case. Maybe she get out.
Man,
it's like It's Kathleen Turner in Body Heat. You want to see her get away with it?
Yeah, exactly.
Fire in your loins. So, Eugene, one place where you can't get out of the Lost Battalion.
I mean, if you got on that Twitter page, we've been talking Lost Battalion, the Johnny Hendricks going to train at Jackson Wink, which is like Miss Central, is deep in the Lost Battalion. Wink, so that Hendricks is there. It's got to be, it's like when you saw a movie with Treat Williams. You'd be like, I like Treat Williams, but anytime you saw a movie with Treat Williams, you're like, oh man. And you had these really mixed feelings because you like Treat Williams. He seems like a nice guy, but he's never been in a movie worth a good goddamn. A couple of movies worth a good goddamn. Otherwise, nothing. So
you got a name like Treat in the first place.
I don't know, but you see Johnny Hendricks driving up, and I can see the guys in Jackson. We go, Johnny Hendricks. Ooh. And then they realize what that means. That Johnny Hendricks is coming to train with us. All of a sudden, coach. Is that you, coach? Is that you? So I think the fact that Johnny Hendricks was there and that flirting with insignificance, Jackson Wink is there, and I'd be hard pressed to, everybody has their time, every dog has his day. I'm not really seeing too many good things happen with the Johnny Boney Johnny thing coming out of Jackson Wink right now. But I'm going to make a controversial pick because that's not a surprising one. Johnny Hendricks and Jackson Wink, not surprising. How about this? And usually the declination. I think that's a word. I made that up, but I think it's a real word. DECLEN. There's something. Anyway, I'm going to say this. I want you to clear your heads. You're going to hear it. So I want you to embrace it for a second. Usually people are in the Lost Battalion. It's a sad thing. It's a sad, bad confluence of events that's resulted in them being so unself-aware that they don't realize that the party has stopped and they're the last ones on the dance floor, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to go the other way and say this is probably the first upward case of that kind of insignificance, and you can't really feel sorry for the guy. But after watching whoever it was who sent me the party video, the endless party video of Connor McGee dancing in this was not even Ibiza. This was some other place post that, and they're canceling of the Conor McGregor event and then him doing another event in Dublin where he just comes out and bullshits like a high rent Jake LaMotta, charge tickets and just bullshits for an hour about whatever. He's charging people for press conferences and he's got $135 million. He's failing upwards. At this point now, I'd say $135 million and that kind of public love, the guy has got no real fucking interest or drive to do anything, So he's done a jujitsu trick on Lost Battalionage. In other words, usually it's a guy, Junior Dos Santos, saying, "Oh man, when I come back and challenge for the belt again," everybody around him going, "Nah." Now it's the other case. So like everybody around him is like, "Oh, when Conor comes back, I'll be ready for it." 155 says Max Holloway. "Oh, I'll be ready for him and he's gonna fight." Nate Diaz is getting all revved up, and it's like everybody around him is in the Lost Battalion. I mean, it's like, dude's got $135 million. The last thing he's thinking about is you, which means he's effectively unself-aware.
Wow.
People think I'm a fighter. Really?
So he's
he was dead.
He's the Lost Battalion Island, Lost
exactly,
Island.
Exactly. It takes a little mental gymnastics to figure that out. But when you're at a party, allegedly higher than a freaking kite, and you are dancing spasmodically with a cutout of your head over your actual head, that's it, man. That's it. I can't think of anything more misty woodpile than that shit, and more power to him, man. It's like, look, there's a guy once who showed up at my house in a red Mustang, a new off-the-line Mustang convertible with like a hooker in the seat next to him and vomit all over him. I said, "Yo, bro, we had formed a startup together." He was like the CFO, right? This is the CFO showing up like this. And I was like, "Hey, why don't you come in and get yourself cleaned up?" Like, "Nah, I can't do that." I go, "Okay, what are you here for?" He goes, "Here are your business cards. I quit." And apparently what had happened is his father was a multi-billionaire who had created all the TV shows that we loved of our youth. His name is not important. And his father had died, had the trophy wife was fighting the son over the estate. He finally won in court and took possession of at least half of that. So he had suddenly become an 80 millionaire. And,
wow.
Bought the car, got the hooker, lots of cocaine and drugs, other drugs and alcohol, came to my house to give me my business cards, and drove off into, I've never seen or heard about him again.
Maybe that Chinese dude.
Yes. Yeah, right.
On an island with Tupac and Biggie and Elvis.
Yep.
Prince.
So McGee is there, and all the rest of us are talking about when he's gonna fight. Hey, look around us. Let us look around us to see when we talk about McGee if we see anything other than fog. I don't think so.
Well, on that positive note, thanks for joining us. Follow us on Twitter at Eugene S. Robinson, Alexio at Hey Not the Face. At Facebook at MMA Pancholes. Please give us a thumbs up, Eugene.
Sorry. Oh, that's what we mean.
We lost our monetizing. That's what I was
I am
keep you on monetizing.
I am dragging this show down. I'm sorry, John.
Subscribe to MMA Nation on YouTube, MMA Nation on iTunes. Visit Bloody Elbow, buy Oxbow's Thin Black Duke, where fine music is sold, and immediately follow the show. Look, you have to tune out of this show. Go on YouTube. If the shoes fit, there should be a link in the description box below. If not, if the shoes fit, YouTube channel.
What the hell is with the stuttering? What he's saying is, right now we're going to log out of this show and log into the other show. Make the jump with us. The link is right below. I am the Alexa translator.
Or not you morons, the morons out in the general audience. Just subscribe to the goddamn channel.
Yeah.
Well, no, yeah, because you might have missed this. We still want you to listen to If I Did It, but come on over with us. We're gonna log out and we're gonna log back in.
Okay,
exactly.
Logging out. Bye.
And we'll be back next week with another song. If I Didn't, we don't know what we're talking about yet because the PR mistakes have yet to be made.